Welcome to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. I don't know where you are, Nigel, but it was 18 degrees in West London yesterday. It was absolutely balmy. It was fantastic. Great weather. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. I'm in Balham. Had a great time. I got my shorts on. I got my t-shirt on. That's in South London. If anybody is from stateside doesn't know where it is. Yeah, I'm absolutely lovely. Got the Factor 50 on. Been swimming in the Thames. Found an old bike in there. Bit of sea, a couple of Wellington boots. I'm loving life. How are you?
How is Dubai? How are you getting on?
Dubai? No, it's good. Tennis was great. Very hot. But I love it out here. It's a beautiful place, a part of the world. If you ever get an opportunity to go out here, hotels are exceptional. The internet in this hotel is a bit questionable, though. So let's crack on.
Jack, how are you doing? We had some winners last weekend on the show. Is everyone's form turning around? Are there green shoots of recovery here?
G'day to you both and to everyone else. Absolutely, of course there is. Yeah, we'll take that. And clean sweep from Nigel, and 2 out of 3 for me. And my small stake one was the one that let us down. So for the full sweep, but we'll take the positive. We'll run with it, and we'll look to build on that. Of course, we will.
Both of you cashed on the big game last weekend, the North London derby, which was an easy win for Arsenal, Nigel. And the Gunners go again with another big game, arguably. In terms of their home fixtures remaining in the Premier League, their toughest test is Chelsea, Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Arsenal minus 167 here, Chelsea plus 440 and the tie plus 310. And it's Arsenal's very much to lose in their own hands and so on and so forth at the moment. They are minus 200 for the title. But of course, we did have this game in the League Cup semi-final second leg, not so long ago that we can reference here. Do you see something similar to that fixture this time around? Home win, unders, both teams to score, no, bit of a drab encounter.
Well, I think the first thing about it is that Liam Rossini has got to put in a better performance than he did in that second leg of the League Cup. I mean, he's been. I mean, if you were marking him as a score mark, you give him 8 out of 10 in his performances so far as manager at Chelsea. I think he's done well. I didn't expect him to do as well as he's done, but I think he's done pretty well. But marking him for that match in the second leg against Arsenal, when you had to go for a win, I'll give him a 1 out of 10. Probably critical.
D-.
Probably critical for me. But I think that was a performance that he would look back and think, I wish we'd give it a go. Fans demanded having a go. And I think he's got to go to Arsenal and really take it to them. Chelsea fans, I've got a lot of Chelsea fans. The one thing they do not want this season is Arsenal to win the Premier League. Let me tell you that. So if they think they're going to go there and not put an effort in, they're very much mistaken. Chelsea have been great on the road this season, scored a lot of goals. Arsenal have the best defence at home. They have been given a few goals away recently. Obviously, that match against Tottenham, when we cashed to both teams to score and the over as well, was a prime example of that. And they give away chances as well against the weak side. The big positive for Arsenal at the weekend was not only the result and the return from Eze, but the 2 goals from Gyökeres. I read his stats out last week. He always does it against the poor teams. He proved that against Tottenham, and can he do that against Chelsea? That's the question. Was non-existent. I think we've got a different opinion this one. I think we have a different opinion, myself and Jack here, and it's good really because the amount of times we agree on stuff, I think it's quite good to have a different opinion. Arsenal have a tremendous record in recent years in this match. They haven't lost in 12 against Chelsea, and Rosenia, his record here is since he's been in charge at Chelsea, is 12 matches and only 2 losses, and both of those losses come to Arsenal. So Arsenal have got the number of Chelsea in recent years. I think this team is a lot better than the Chelsea side. It's certainly much more settled. I think Chelsea obviously makes so many changes week in, week out. Cole Palmer on his day can be fantastic, and on other days he's non-existent at this moment, very too inconsistent for me. And I think Chelsea will find this tough against Arsenal. And I believe Arsenal will do a professional job on Chelsea here, very much similar to that match in the second leg of the Carabao Cup. The first leg, they could have easily won by more than the margin they did. The 1 goal was at that match. They could have won by a lot more if they put their chances away. It didn't come back to bite them because Chelsea put in no performance. I think Arsenal have Chelsea's number, as I say. And I am actually going here for under 2.5 goals, which is plus 104. I think Arsenal will win this 1-0, 2-0. Professional job. Chelsea, although they do score goals on the road, have struggled against Arsenal in recent years in this fixture and twice already this season. And I expect Arsenal to take 3 points. The other thing about Arsenal is they know what to do with the Man City result, which, Man City could drop points. We'll come on to that game later. And the game set may change. It's difficult to think now as we're recording this on Thursday how they will approach the game going into this match. But I think obviously their advantage they will have knowing what Man City done is crucial going into the countdown of the season. But I expect Arsenal to win. -167 is a little bit too short for my liking, but I do think I would rather take the under than the over. Case made for Seeley. Now over to the defence, Mr. Wright.
Chelsea won 5 of the last 6 away from home, but it's not the money line that Jack is going on, as Mr. Seeley has alluded to. Step forward into the dock, young man. What have you got to say for yourself? This is an official. It's only a lean from Nigel. This is an official unit from Mr. Wright.
There we go. Well, this is not so much a case of the defence. It's more of a case of the attack.
Very good.
A lack of defence more than anything, because I have gone with over 2.5 goals as an official play, one unit at -127. And Nigel's right with that performance in that second leg was shocking, and that was the one really bad performance, I guess. First half against West Ham, possibly, where Chelsea showcased how bad they can be defensively. That Rosenya's had so far being in charge, and of course Arsenal the only side to have beaten him so far in his tenure. So he's want to look to change that, and they've obviously slipped out of the top 4 as a result of that late goal conceded against Burnley last week. So I think they're going to have to go for the win here to kind of keep pace with those sides that have all played before them. The Manchester United's going to be playing before them, and they want to be making sure that obviously they look to get in that top 4. And this is a tough game, but I think that they will look to attack in this case, and that will be their best option against an Arsenal side that, despite that win last week, which was much needed for them and gave them a confidence boost, I just think that Tottenham side is so poor that may be a little bit of a glossing over of still the fact that there's some uncertainty there, and there's also a little bit of nerves, which I think Chelsea could exploit with a quick start at the Emirates. So I think Chelsea are good for a goal, certainly in it. The Arsenal backline has been conceding goals. We saw it against Spurs where they didn't give away too many chances, but still conceded nearly 2 goals in that game. But their attack is clicking. And we talked about Gyökeres last week, but he's now scored 8 goals in all competitions in 2026. That's most of any player in the Premier League. So you can spin the stats to suggest that be the case. They have got those forward options, and I think Chelsea will concede goals. And I've gone overs because I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I think there's a chance that Arsenal could blow Chelsea away, but I also think there's the chance that Chelsea can make this a real tight end-to-end, and this could well be a bit of a shootout, in which case we could see a really exciting game. There's goals in the games. Arsenal's home games averaging 3. It's cashed in 5 of the last 6, so with the defensive has started to concede more goals regularly. And so Chelsea will come to have a go. Average 3.08 on the road, over 2.5 goals in 9 of 13, and in 4 of the last 5, including the last 3. And I'm going to take that trend to continue here.
So, Jack going for over 2.5 goals, an official play at -127. Nigel, just a lean for overs, as we mentioned. Arsenal -200, City +150 for the title. Let's get on to City because they play Saturday, as Nigel suggested, 12:30 Eastern this one, and they're away at Leeds. And look, prices are pretty similar here. Chelsea are +440, Leeds are +440, City are slightly bigger than Arsenal at -177. The tie at +335. City have won their last 5 in all competitions, Nigel, but I still don't get the feeling that they're this unstoppable juggernaut at the moment. What do you? I mean, to me, I'd want to get with Leeds somehow in this game.
Well, I think this is a much tougher fixture than the Arsenal-Chelsea match, if I was brutally honest. I think there's more chance of a shock here at Ellen Road than at the Emirates. I think this, both teams who are going for the title will look at this fixtures this week as matches that they think, these are difficult assignments for us. Would I bet Leeds at +440? I'm not quite sure if I would, because I've just got this kind of feeling that Man City have got into this winning habit that they do at this stage of the season for the last how many seasons in the Premier League. They keep winning it. And they've won 5 successive. They get to this part of the season and they just hit their foot on the accelerator and they know what to do. At the Emirates is nervy. Man City is hopeful. And that's the Etihad is a hopeful kind of place and just riding what they do season out. The one thing that I did find in the research for this match is Manchester City have a drop-off of 14 points from their home form to their away form in the Premier League. and that is the second highest. The only team that higher than that, the only team that higher than that is Sunderland, who drop off from 16 points at home to away. And we consider Sunderland being very, very good at home. They had the longest home unbeaten record and dreadful away. But no one's mentioned the Man City, how sort of vulnerable they are on the road here. I don't know if they'll lose this match, but the one thing I do expect them to do is concede. 5 of the last 6 Leeds matches have seen both teams to score. 11 of the last 13 home matches this season, Leeds have scored. The only 2 teams they haven't scored at home against this season have been Newcastle and Arsenal. Man City have scored 2 or more in their last 8 matches. City have won the last 5. Haaland going back to the team the place of his birth, where his father played, and he always seems to raise their game against Leeds. 3-2 in the reverse fixture. This one is all about goals for me. Over 2.5 goals. I like. It is short. It's minus 162, but I would jump up to over 3, which is plus 102 with the push at 3. I don't think I would trust Leeds massively on the Asian handicap, because I think that the City swagger at the moment is back and their goal scoring threat is in abundance, from not only from Haaland, who isn't having a good run at the moment. When he's having a bad run, everyone else is scoring goals all across the pitch. You've got Semenyo, obviously. I think Doku's still out, actually. But you've got players who can score goals in every single position, and they've scored 2 or more in their last 8 matches. So goals for me, I expect Leeds to score. You could play both teams to score, yes, but I'm just going to go over 2.5 goals at minus 162, which I'll probably put in a parlay with Man City to win, or just as a single, over 3 goals with the push at 3 at plus 102.
Jack, what's your lean on this one? As I say, I think Leeds +1 on the Asian line at minus 118 is decent for me. Anything grabs your money line wise, or are you looking at a goals or prop angle?
A couple of things that would highlight me on the money line is the fact that Leeds got absolutely trounced 4-0 by Arsenal recently at Ellen Road. That's a real anomaly in their general form at home. They have struggled a little bit against the better sides. But yeah, I think the one thing for me that I'd be cautious of as far as that is they've got Sunderland at home in the midweek slate coming up. And I think that obviously is a really winnable game. And when you've got players like Calvert-Lewin that might need a little bit of game time management, I think they're more likely to rest him for this game with the eye on the Sunderland game coming up. So that would be the cautious note for me on that. But I agree with Nigel. I think goals in this, over 2.5 goals and both teams to score put together, comes in at minus 127, which kind of is in my wheelhouse as far as the odds I'd be looking to take for that kind of bet. Because I think Leeds will probably have a go. What kind of side they put out, I don't know. The Ellen Road crowd will demand that. It's landed in 8 of the last 11 games at Ellen Road for Leeds. And I say with City's attack, I think you look at it there, like the Cherky coming on, looks exceptional when he's on. Marmoush, Haaland, the work rate he put in, you can tell he's having a little bit of a quiet time with that performance last week. But Leeds, they've conceded the 4th most goals in the Premier League, 46. Their expected goals kind of match that as well, the 5th worst. City's attack is elite, we know that. 56 goals is the most in the Premier League, and they've got the 2nd best expected goals scored as well, and it's cashed in 5 of the last 7 road games. So a regular occurrence for both these two sides in respective home and away games. So I've got that as my lean. Over 2.5 goals and both teams to score, yes, in a same game parlay at minus 127.
Yeah, good point about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Just looking at his sort of non-starts. He didn't start against Chelsea recently. Didn't start against Liverpool. You're right, they do manage his minutes and they take him out of the bigger games. We'll see what happens with DCL at the weekend. Let's get to Wolves Villa, which is a Friday night fixture, 3 p.m. on Friday. Wolves are plus 295 here. Villa minus 113. Nigel, you've talked about Kamara, McGinn, Tielemans all being out recently. That trio have started 10 games together this season, 7 wins, 2 draws, just 1 defeat, including wins against Arsenal, Chelsea and United, plus 958 level stakes when they've all started. They're all out, and it's biting Villa, isn't it, their injury situation. They keep stumbling at minus money, and they're minus money away here. What do you think? I mean, I don't think I'll be betting them at minus 130.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, if you said to me 8 weeks ago, Villa at minus 113 to beat Wolves, it would be a 2U play, wouldn't it? I mean, that's sort of how much they've gone back. And Wolves, their defensive metrics are so good, they're so hard to break down. The only problem is they don't score enough goals. I mean, I wouldn't be betting Villa again. The angle for me is goals and lack of them. I'm all over the unders in this match. This was really, really close to being an official play. Really close on the under 2.5 goals here. Villa, obviously, without those players. I'm not convinced by Watkins' fitness. I don't think Tammy Abraham is up to pace in the Premier League since he's returned. Key influential players who drive the team in attacking moments. I don't think Ramsey's been the same player as he has. Rodgers, sorry, has been the same player as he has been at the start of the season. He looks a little bit tired for me, which is a worry for England in a World Cup year. Just some of the points that I like for the goals. Wolves haven't scored in the first half in their last 8 Premier League matches. So if you look at Wolves not to score in their first half, it's minus 186. It's short, but they don't score many goals. Villa under 2.5 goals. They cashed in 4 of their last 5 away Premier League matches. And also in all of their last 6 matches. It's a derby. If we look at the XG, I like to look at XG for combined 3 matches. It gives you sort of an underline. If you are going to look at age, one match where you can produce loads and one match, I like to look at a bigger sample. Combined, Wolves are plus a 3.07 XG in their 3 matches, and Villa are under 3 at 2.85. So that shows you where Villa are really having a drop down in goal and creativity. And I think under 2.5 goals here at minus 110. I will definitely be betting that myself. Derby, Wolves is playing well. Villa struggling for goals. I will be playing it. It will come very close to being an official play, but I wouldn't put anybody off betting the under 2.5 goals here at minus 110.
Morgan Rogers has played more minutes than any other Aston Villa player, 2,407. Just running out of gas a little bit. It came close to an official play for Nigel. He will be betting it at the weekend. Jack, how close did it come for an official play for you?
Same, yeah. All the stats point towards it, and there was something about me just not able to pull the trigger as far as official. But I totally agree. Under 2.5 goals is my play in this as a lean. We saw Wolves again. I think the key phrase here is they are being more competitive, and that's generally being more tighter defensively, not conceding so many goals. They still struggle in attack though, so it's perfect for the unders. We saw it last week where they were much the better side and missed a penalty, and then ended up losing the game 1-0. And Villa, for me, this is a must-win game for not the title challenge, but certainly for a top 4, top 5 finish, because their next 2 games in the league, and again, we've got the midweek round of fixtures coming up just round the corner. Chelsea and Manchester United are their next 2 games, which obviously they're main rivals for that top 4, top 5 position. So they're desperate to get the 3 points, and I think that would look like a 1-0 win, a 2-0 win maybe, but something very tight and therefore low scoring. Nigel's read out all the stats there, bang on with as far as the unders and trends is concerned. So that is my lean as well.
Villa minus 177 for a top 4 finish. United minus 177 for a top 4 finish. Would you play one, the other, or both, Nigel? Quickly.
Man United.
Jack?
Yeah, I think that United have got it now. Yeah, I do.
3 points behind them at the moment, but obviously they play each other in a few weeks' time. United, incidentally, Sunday 9 a.m. against Crystal Palace, a minus 175 here. Great position to make the top 4. They've still got a few tricky fixtures to come, as we know. Got Chelsea away, Liverpool at home. I mean, there's a little bit of pressure on them to qualify, Nigel, because everyone's saying they've got a free run at it at the minute. No cup competitions of any description, but you called them right against Everton, and you're going to go in again.
Yeah, I think that there's a belief about Man United at the moment. I got a feeling that match under Amorim and that match maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, with the way they were playing, they would have lost that match against Everton. I thought they ground out, and Šeško, when he comes on, is making a big impact. I like I think Michael Carrick's doing a tremendous job at Manchester United. I know we've got into these false dawns of Man United over this season, last season, the season before. But I really like what I see from them. I think they're good to watch. They're playing some great football. They've got goal scorers, match winners, and Boomer, Kuna, as we know. Fernandes, he's not having a great time at the moment, but he's still influential. Šeško is now. I think Šeško could be a proper player when he gets used to the Premier League next season. Only young, I think he's going to be a great player. And some of the classes, the finishes with the class he shows is great. I think they're playing a Palace side that had a big win last week against Wolves, but I think that don't look too much into that. We know the problems at Crystal Palace, as I've alluded to so many times. I think they really struggle for goals. Last week I was so close to betting them to win to 0, and the under 2.5 that cashed. I think without Mateta in these kind of matches, these battering ram will cause them problems for Manchester United. I don't think Strand Larsen will be that dangerous against his Man United side. If you look at this fixture in the last 6 years, it's always been quite a low-scoring fixture. Both teams have scored both teams to score has only cashed once in the last 6. Glasner's obviously linked to a move to Manchester United at the end of the season, but the way Carrick has set the team out, the way Carrick's doing, I think he's probably a decent bet to keep that job, especially if they get in the top 4. Players seem to like him. Man United just been scored in every single match in the last 16. The last time they failed to score was against Everton in that infamous match that we went too big on. Palace have the Conference League on Thursday. I know it's a winnable game, but they're favourites to win the European competition, and that is their priority this season. And I think Man United win this, and I think they'll win it quite convincingly. We know they've got goals. It was 2-1 in the reverse fixture, and in that reverse fixture, Palace were flying at the time. Man United was struggling. Now we go back to Old Trafford. It's a totally different game. Man United -1 for me on the Asian handicap. My first official play at -103. I can't see Man United losing this match. And obviously we've got that, instead of the money line at -175, we've got that bonus of a push. And I think Man United could put 2 or 3 past this Crystal Palace side that, despite that win last week and that win against Brighton, have still got their papering over the cracks. They're a team that are struggling.
And there's problems off the pitch, obviously, Jack, isn't there? Because Glasner's come out and given the fans a bit of a dig, and obviously doesn't want to be there. The situation at the Palace, as we all know, isn't very good at the moment. What do you make of this one? You got a lean for us?
Yeah, I have. I agree that Man United win this, and because it's only a lean, I've gone for something a little bit more aggressive as far as the price is concerned. So I've gone for Man United to win in at half-time and at full-time. It's +135, and that's based on the fact that there's a decent trend with United this season. And yeah, they've been exceptional under Carrick. They've won, 5 and a tie under him since he's taken over. This bet's cashed in 2 of his 3 home games. The only one that didn't was a 0-0 half-time tie with City, which obviously they went on to win, but they dominated that game and should have been ahead going into half-time in that one. And this has landed in 7 of their last 12 across the season at home. So really strong as far as getting their noses in front. They've been in front 8 times at half-time in home games this season. And as I say, they've then gone on to win it in 7 of those as well. So solid stats against the Palace side that we talked about there. They are in turmoil. When there's banners out against the board and against the club and the manager's against the fans, it can only go one way, really. And we're just kind of waiting for that to end. And yeah, the game also in midweek in Europe is their priority. Where they'll be after that, obviously, it's after we've recorded this. But yeah, they're in a terrible place, and United can take advantage of it because they are confident and tails up at Old Trafford. So a dangerous animal for sure.
What's your pick? Half-time, full-time, 135.
Yes.
Yeah. Liverpool-West Ham, just a lean from Jack one. That one, 10 a.m. On Saturday, Liverpool-West Ham here, Nigel. Liverpool -265, West Ham +615. Not quite sure what to make about this one. I thought Liverpool were lucky at Forest, but they have won their last 3. Florian Wirtz, I don't know if he's going to play. Seems to be a big player for them all of a sudden. And West Ham are, doing all right at the minute. I mean, they've only lost 1 of their last 8. That was at Chelsea, which the game they led 2-0. I mean, can we get West Ham here? Is there an angle in? What do you think?
I'm not so sure. I know they've got to go in there and they've got to attack. And I think I don't know. I mean, the one thing that you would look at this match, and if you looked at current form and you looked at everything, people would be thinking goals. Liverpool and West Ham will reduce goals. West Ham obviously need to win, and Liverpool need to chase down those teams in their top 4 positions. But if you look at this season, the goal line is 3.5 in this game. Right, it's a 3.5 game goal. Obviously, it's heavy weighted in the unders, under 3.5, but it's a 3.5 goal line. Only 2 Liverpool home matches this season have cashed over 3.5 goals. So 11 you would have lost if you bet the over 3.5 goals. And in West Ham away matches, only 2 have cashed over 3.5 goals as well. 11 you would have lost. So you might look at it and think, oh, there's goals, but the trends for both of these home teams, home and away, respectively, don't back that number up. Obviously, on current form, West Ham are a lot more advantageous in recent weeks under Nuno. Nuno has his worst record against any team in the Premier League is Liverpool. He's lost 8 to Liverpool. It's the worst record of anybody else. And I just think West Ham have just got to look at this and think to themselves, we've got some really big home matches coming up. We've got some really, really big games that could determine whether we are going to stay in the Premier League. And I think for him, if he got a point here, he'd be delighted. And there is teams at the bottom of the table and teams at home where Liverpool have been very heavy minus money favourites this season that they haven't cashed. So looking at the trends and looking at the game state of this match, I probably would go under 3.5. I know it's short, it's minus 136, but 11 matches home this season for Liverpool, you would have cashed on under 3.5, and 11 matches on the road for West Ham, you would have cashed on under 3.5. It's a very tricky match to have a view because I think Liverpool aren't at their best yet, but they've won their last three and they won their last 3-0. 1-0, 2-0, that's the kind of game I think Liverpool will do again here, which brings in the under 3.5. And also, if you want to get a little better price for Liverpool, I think Liverpool to win 2-0 could be your option because I think West Ham will prioritise some crucial matches at the London Stadium.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I was just looking at some of the short prices that Liverpool have been against teams, and none of them have gone over 3.5. You're absolutely right. Sort of Burnley at home, Leeds at home, Wolves at home as well. You know, they don't, even when they do win, they don't score a lot. Just on West Ham though, Jack, I mean, they might, prove the exception to the rule here because January signings seem to be working. Disasi's come in at the back and has done all right. Castellanos has done better than I ever expected he was going to do. Yeah. Pablo's not played as many games, but he's been on the pitch and affected games a little bit here. Do you give a squeak for West Ham here? I know you've got an official play in this one.
I do have a tiny official play for me in this one because the price just didn't seem quite right for me. But I think it is a tough one to call. I kind of looked at trying to side with West Ham given their current form, but I can't really oppose Liverpool given their strong record at home, given the fact that West Ham have a horrific record at Liverpool and also Nuno's record as well there as well. You all add it together and I watched that Forest game last week. You think, how Forest not won that game, but they didn't. And then Liverpool went on to win it, and they nearly won it twice at the end, didn't they, with those disallowed goals as well. But, it just seems that they'll be able to get the job done. And Nigel touched on it there. I'd put it to mention, plus 170 it was for win to nil, if that's still the same price when this gets out. But that's 3 successive win to nils for Liverpool now and 5 of the last 6 across all competitions. So they are keeping it tighter at the back with that more consistent back line. And so the record against West Ham, they've won 9 of the last 10 games against West Ham, and they've lost only 1 of 58 home games against West Ham, winning 43 of those. So that shows you what they're up against here. But my lean is still focusing on West Ham's vulnerability in the air. They conceded a couple of goals against Chelsea from headers against players that aren't particularly prolific in the air, Cucurella and João Pedro. So they've conceded 13 goals from set pieces this season. That's the third most. They've conceded 102 headed attempts this season. That's 14 more than any other side. And 15 headed goals they conceded, which is 5 more than any other side. So who is Liverpool's strongest threat in the air? It's Virgil van Dijk. 15 headed attempts at goal this season is more than any other Liverpool player. Ekitike's next with 13, and under that is 7. So he's miles clear, really. Yeah, he's the biggest odds to score for Liverpool. He was plus 700 last night. He's just been nipped into plus 650 at time of recording. So that's what we're logging it as. It's just a quarter of a unit play. I couldn't let it ride without taking advantage of it because I think it might be tight, as Nigel said there, with the goals. He's had 10 shots in the last 7 games, 4 of those on targets, and he scored twice in that period of time as well. So I think the 650, plus 650 here, is just a little bit too big, and I wanted to have a little piece of it. So just a quarter of a unit on it for Virgil van Dijk to score at any time.
Quickly, fellas. Liverpool minus 139, top 4. West Ham to go down minus 139. Same price. Which would you take if you had to, Nigel?
I wouldn't bet any of them. I think West Ham will. I think West Ham will stay up. And I think they'll get.
And you think Liverpool will?
And I don't think Liverpool will make the top 4.
Liverpool get top 4. Jack?
Again, boring, but I completely agree. Yeah, I do.
Fulham-Tottenham next up. This is an interesting game, and we've got an official play from Jack in this one. Sunday, 9 a.m. Fulham are plus 108. I got it wrong with Fulham last week. I thought Sunderland would win. They didn't. That Iwobi breakaway was good enough, but Spurs have got players back. They're decent-ish away from home. First proper week on the training ground for Tudor. Have I persuaded you, Jack, for Spurs? Draw no bet or quarter of a goal at either money on the Asian line. I'm gonna play Spurs somehow, I think. What's the official unit play, Jack?
Good, we can go head to head then. I am going for Fulham to win it. I just thought plus money was just a little bit too much for me. That again, I had to have a little piece of that. And they tend to be a bit of a streaky side, the Fulham, and they'd lost those sort of 3 games on the spin. They've now won a couple back to back, and I just feel they can kick on here against Spurs side that have been better on the road, but they're just woeful against Arsenal. I know Fulham aren't an Arsenal, but they're just just looks so bad. And I just think that plus money at home to them, I'm just going to have to take it. Things just don't look right. We've seen all the video footage of Van der Ven ignoring Tudor, and how's that going to translate on the training pitch? And yeah, they're getting a couple of players back, but I just think they're so bad. I just want to take them on. Simple as that, really. And Fulham have been pretty strong at home. They won 10 of 16 at home, 4 of the last 6 as well. They won the reverse fixture 2-1. They won this last season 2-0. They won it the season before 3-0. So they've got a decent recent record against Spurs, who have been at times better than where they are at the moment. And they've also, for me, they've got 2 in-form players that can score goals and create chances. Wilson, 8 goals and 7 assists this season. Jimenez, 8 goals and 5 assists. They're both in good form, and I think they can take advantage of a Spurs side that are just terrible, woeful, all over the place. And I make Spurs worse than Burnley in the current form and how they're playing at the moment. They just look terrible. And whether he can change anything, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to prepare to put a bit of money on the fact that he won't be able to change it in this period of time, and Fulham can go and get the win. They're leaking loads of chances of Spurs, and I think Fulham have got the players at the moment, Iwobi, Wilson, Jimenez, and a couple of others that can take advantage of it and get the win.
It is a money line selection from Jack. One you play plus 108 at the moment. Fulham, they have been bet. I mean, I was looking, Nigel, and I thought, well, surely this is the shortest price that Fulham have ever been against Spurs. But they were shorter last season, and I thought, well, maybe it was ahead of a Europa League game. It wasn't. I just think that Spurs can't be that bad again. What's your take?
Well, we recorded Betting Weekly Live with Steve Wiss straight after the Arsenal demolition of Tottenham last week, and we were talking about, are Tottenham too good to go down? They're currently 4-1 to get relegated. So there's a 20% possibility that Tottenham will play Championship football. They could be the champions of Europe and playing the Championship. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. But at the time of recording, Fulham were plus 135 to win this match. I think now the value's gone. I take Jack's point. Tottenham are awful. They have got players back, but I think at plus 108, I wouldn't bet them. At plus 135, yeah, I would love a bit of that now, but even plus 125. But for me, there's a cut-off point where I just don't think there's much value. And I believe that Tottenham might be nibbled in the market when the returning players come on and announce in the team. There's clearly problems at Tottenham in terms of the dressing room. Everyone has stated that the fact there's a toxic dressing room. They don't care who they are. They think they've got ideas above their station. This side, they're a side that are in absolute turmoil. They're a club that have been in turmoil for years and years and years. Fulham are a very good run club. Jack said there the brilliant record they have at home to Tottenham. And also, this fixture is notoriously good for overs. 7 of the last 8 matches over 2.5 goals. Fulham have scored in 15 of their 16 home matches this season, and Tottenham no wins in the Premier League this year in 2026. 4 draws and 5 losses. But it's the price that's put me off. It's the price of plus 108. You know, at plus 135, it's a bit like bullseye for our English. It's just what you could have won, and I just think that price is a little bit too short for me. If it drifts back to plus 120, I might be tempted, but plus 108, I wouldn't. I'd rather go in the goals. I think you'll get a much better performance from Tottenham. You have to. And I think Fulham will be a good opponent for them. I think there'll be goals in the match. But the price of the Fulham movement has put some caution into my mind. And I think a plus 108 is a potential trap.
Price is everything, of course. You either believe that it's a value bet or it's not. You bet accordingly. Brighton versus Nottingham Forest next up Sunday, 9 a.m. Brighton are plus 105, Forest plus 245. Should have known that Brighton bocked our Brentford bets last week, given they had less of the ball at the G-Tech. But they might not against Forest, who can afford to rest players against Fenerbahce tonight. Jack, what's your lean on this one?
I've just gone for under goals in it. Plus 102 is my lean. Obviously, yeah, it was a massive win for Brighton against Brentford last week, but in the league, under 2.5 goals cashed in 7 of the last 8 and the last 6 at home. And Forest dominated Liverpool and got absolutely nothing from it. And we've talked about it before. They just are lacking that goal scorer that they've had with Chris Wood over the last couple of seasons. You're just seeing tentative opportunities or big chances missed. And I think Brighton are similar in that respect as well. So I think we've got 2 sides here that just can't take their chances. So on that basis, with Forest under cashing in 5 of the last 6 as well, it had to be under at plus money for me. And I think that's where a little bit of value lies.
Nigel, your thoughts on this one? Forest are plus 250 to go down. You mentioned that you didn't think West Ham are going to go down. Who is going to go down?
I'd rather bet Tottenham actually at 4-1 than Forest. I think. Well, no, I mean you're laughing. I would. Jack just said they're the worse than Burnley at this moment in time. So I mean,
Probably right.
You might want to check. I mean, every time I go to a different window, the camera freezes. I don't want to look at the window. But I looked earlier and I thought under 2.5 goals in this match has been betting to -124. I was very close to this being an official play as well. I really like the unders in this match.
That's correct.
And I love the unders here. But again, the price is just moving. I saw it last night at plus money. I saw it now come down to -124. And I thought, we've missed the boat on that a little bit. The under 2.5 goals has cashed in last 6 home games. All the same reasons that Jack said there. But in this fixture, 4 of the last 6 have seen over 3.5 goals cash. To put into some concept of Brighton, their combined XG for last 3 matches, again, what I use 3, is 2.88. That's the lowest in the Premier League. So they're not creating any chances. And I actually I'd give Forest a bit of a chance here at plus 245. I think Brighton are a vulnerable favourite at plus 105. Their Asian handicap was a quarter of a goal at plus 102 for Forest. I would like that to have gone minus money on the money line Brighton and got the draw on my side. If it was a half-ball game, I'd be all over Forest here, but it isn't. It's a little bit too big. But I give Forest a great chance at plus 245. They would be my hot dog on the old system, but I do like the unders, even at the -124. At the plus money, it would have been an official play, but if it's -124, it's a lean for me.
Evens unders now. Evens unders. Overs -124. Yeah, it flashed up a bit too quickly for you. Yeah, evens.
Okay, well, even money, I'll be betting it.
Would you bet that?
I'll be betting under 2.5 goals for sure.
What you betting Burnley-Brentford, Nigel? 10 a.m. on Saturday. Burnley plus 390 here. They keep pulling out some good performances against the odds. Plus 450 to draw at Chelsea. Plus 500 to win at Palace. They're plus 390 to beat Brentford. Don't know where to put Brentford at the minute. Are they going into sort of, on the beach mode at the minute? Are they going to be joining in the beach bar in Dubai shortly? I don't know.
I don't know if they'll be allowed in. I don't think they're VIP enough. Brentford
no colours, no football colours.
It's more and more like the Saudi league out here, Ronaldo and all those kind of boys. I don't think Brentford make it. I give Burnley a bit of a chance at plus 390. I think, like as Jack said, they're playing. They're giving themselves a little bit of a fight. Brentford, terrible performance against Brighton. I think that would have hurt them hugely. I don't think they play as bad as that. But again, you'll love my XG stats. I'm loving these XG moves. But Brighton combined for the last 3 matches are right up there in the top of the Premier League. I think they're more than Man City in terms of the chances they're creating and goals they're going for. Both teams have scored in 7 of the last 9 Burnley matches. This fixture last season was the reverse fixture early in the season was 3-1. Thiago got a couple there. Burnley failed to score in just 1 of their last 6 matches at home. Brentford come here on the back of their worst performance of the season. Are they in sort of reverse mode now, taking the foot off the gas, doing what they did? They're mid-table, going for the FA Cup as well. That could be a priority for them. Burnley giving themselves a real go, not going down without a fight. Plus 390 is a big price for Burnley. I like them on the Asian handicap, plus 0.75 goals. But the best bet for me here is both teams to score, yes, -127.
Jack, what do you like in this one? Burnley-Brentford. Brentford to bounce back, Burnley to pull another one out of the bag.
I don't really know, to be honest with you. So I've gone with a goal scorer. Igor Thiago, the guy we've talked about a lot over the course of the season. He's been a bit of a barren run, but I think this is his opportunity to get back most goals. Nigel said he's already scored a couple, and he's plus money to score. And again, I think he's plus money. A player that's only behind Haaland in the goal-scoring ranks across the season so far against the Burnley side that have allowed the most shots on target across the season, 154. And he will get the chances. He is the main man. He's on penalties. He'll normally get 90 minutes. So I think he'll get chances in this. Can he get back to scoring ways? I think he can. I especially think at plus money, I think he's worth a little punt. So that's the route I'm going down there. I think, probably goals. And I think, Thiago, decent price at plus money.
Plus 105, just a lean from Jack in that one. 2 more games to look at. Newcastle-Everton next, 10 a.m. on Saturday. Nigel, Newcastle are -134. Everton plus 350. Don't know what to make about that Carabao game in midweek. Bit of a pre-season friendly feel to it. Almost against the side that obviously was brushed aside in the first leg of that Champions League game. Everton are better away from home, as we know. 6 in the away-only table. Only Arsenal have more away from home. I mean, I sort of want to get with Everton a little bit, but it's still Newcastle at St James's here, isn't it? What are your thoughts?
Well, the injury list is crucial for Newcastle. Wissa, Bruno's still out. Big injuries that they've still got there are not at their best. And obviously now they've got to wait and see who they could have a massive match in the Champions League when the draw gets announced. So it's going to be either Barcelona or Chelsea. So that is going to be on everyone's minds coming into this match. And sometimes when you have big fixtures to look forward to, you take your mind off what you've got ahead of you in that game. And Everton are the perfect time to capitalise on that kind of distraction. They've obviously got Man City in the FA Cup as well, which is massive. I think they'll prioritise those cup competition now ahead of the league form. I think someone posted on the Twitter on the YouTube that they could force their way into the Europa League. I'm not quite sure if their league form is there for Newcastle. I think it's about a cup competition, and that's where they're going to focus. The one thing we do know, they score goals, 2 or more goals in their 10 of their 11 Premier League games at home. Scored 3 against Qarabağ again. But on the flip side, only one of Everton's 14 league games on the road have seen more than 3 goals. So you've got one team that are defensively strong and under Kings, and the other team are the over Kings. 4-1 in their reverse fixture. I think I'd sit on the fence here, and I might have if I was going to have a lean. I've got real no opinion on the match, but I feel that Newcastle at -134 are too short. I think the timing's not great for them, and after the Qarabağ match and the cup competition's coming up, I think Everton have got a chance here. Maybe play Everton on the handicap, but I can't see them winning. So for that reason, by process of elimination, the tie at +290 would be probably the way I'll be looking. But probably one of the most difficult matches on the coupon.
Don't mind a tie. We don't get them that often on the show. Nigel's right, Jack. Look, Bruno's out. Bruno's going to be out to mid-April, I was reading earlier today. Yeah. Miley's out, Livramento out, Ramsey's got a hamstring injury. I know there's 1 or 2 coming back. But, it's a difficult one to call, sort of win, draw, win market, money line market. You've gone to the props for your lean.
Yeah, completely. I agree. I think that the prices and everything, you could kind of make a case for pretty much everything and anything in those as well. One stat that I saw during the week was the fact that David Moyes, since he came back in charge of Everton, has only one side of won more points on the road than him, 38. So it's pretty impressive road record, and they've been better on the road this season than they were in their new stadium. So bear that in mind. But I lent on our Newcastle expert for this because it was a really tough one to call. I was speaking to Hughesy at the time, and he's given me, indeed, the hitman has come up with over 10.5 corners. So I'll give him the full credit on that. -120 is the lean. 7.46 average corners per game at home this season for Newcastle. Over 10.5 cashed in 9 of 13. That's 70%. All of the last 4, 7 of the last 8, both higher stats in the league. 15 in the reverse, 15 in this fixture last season. Total of 50 corners in the last 4 meetings, average of 12.5. Can't argue with that, so I'll take that on board as my lean.
Numbers stack up for over 10.5 corners, -120. Just a lean from Jack. Last game on, the game that nobody is interested in, apart from Nigel Seeley, who's got an official play in it, of course. Bournemouth -132, Sunderland +350. Of course, lots of people got interest in this one. Bournemouth unbeaten in 18 90 minutes after a winless run of 11. Xhaka, though, having come back as a sub, almost certainly going to start him. I mean, he's absolutely key for Sunderland. So which way do we go? Bournemouth to keep up their run, Sunderland to be inspired by Xhaka returning here. Nigel, you've got an official pick.
I think if you look at how many times I've had a bet on the last match of Matchday this season, I think it's like a load of them. Forget the big ones. I always go for the here. I just want to oppose Sunderland now for the remainder of the season. I know Saka's influential and I know he's key, but I think their work is done here. I think they're a side to me that, that one now they've lost that home record, which they were very proud to be the longest home team unbeaten in the Premier League. What they've done this season is fantastic, but I think they're reverting now back to what we expected at the start of the season. And I think they're a fade pretty much week in and week out for the remainder of the season. I think they've had a small squad that has done tremendously well. It's not small, but they're inexperienced and they've overachieved. And at home, the way they play, they use so much energy to fight for every tackle, get that crowd, emotional energy as well. I think Bournemouth, as you said, Dan, for the last few weeks, have been one of the most underrated teams in the Premier League. What Irola's done since Semenyu's gone has been pretty much incredible. Losing their best player, what he did at the start of the season when he lost their whole defence is incredible, and he deserves plaudits for what he's done here. And this is the longest trip in the Premier League. Obviously, Newcastle as well could have come all the way down to Bournemouth. It's a long way for them to go, and it's not the right time for Sunderland at this moment. Just 6 Premier League road goals. They've lost 4 of their last 6. No road win in 9. The last time they won on the road was that shock performance in at Chelsea in October. But that was a Sunderland side full of energy, riding high, counter-attacking at its best. I think now their bubble has burst. And I think Bournemouth win this match. Minus 132 on the money line. I wouldn't put anybody off betting that in a parlay. Or if you want to get that kind of low prices, I think minus 132 is a great result, a great price. And the bet I like here is Bournemouth minus 0.75 on the Asian handicap. I thought it might be a 1-goal game, and I expect it to become a 1-goal game. But that way we get the half and we get the 1 goal, and it's minus 104. I think that's a really nice play. I know Bournemouth have got goals in them. If you look at this match, 3 of the last 4 Bournemouth home matches have ended in a 3-2 win for them, 3-2. And this fixture in the reverse fixture was 3-2 as well. So 3-2 could be on the cards, but I just can't see Sunderland scoring any goals. 6 goals on the road, but that's their problem. No wins in recent weeks, and they're on the decline. Every metric shows you that Sunderland are going back to where we expected to start the season. They overperformed at the beginning, and Bournemouth are just doing remarkable things on an unbeaten run of 8, and I think they'll win this, and I think this fairly comfortably. So my official play is Bournemouth minus 0.75 on the Asian handicap, 1 unit, minus 104.
Yeah, I'd really like Bournemouth. I'm going to get with them various different ways, I think. Problems at fullbacks for Sunderland. Ronaldo's out.
Yeah, Ronaldo.
Mukiele, who's been playing fullback, is a questionable. Just looking at some team news here. Brian Brobby might not start as well. Look, Xhaka is a plus for them, but I'm not sure he's that much of a plus. And I like the way that Bournemouth attack on the flanks as well. Adley's been good. And Tyler Adams has been back recently for Bournemouth. Only come back last game, the American international, former New York Red Bulls academy star. Jack, what do you like here? You're weighing in with this Bournemouth angle. This is going to be, old school sort of 5U play, this one, isn't it, I think?
It's a lead for me, but yeah, I think it's this is Bournemouth's game for certain. I think Tavernier's back as well, which is a big plus for them from his set pieces and also what he contributes in open play, whether he'll start or not. But he got 10 minutes, I think, in the last game, and I mean, in good form. And again, making this the early kickoff on a Saturday in the UK is like. So how unfair is that on Sunderland fans? They've got to go the length for the country to come and go and watch their side. But that sums it all up, really, doesn't it? Yeah, so, we talked about Xhaka coming back, but even when they had Xhaka, they were still really poor on the road. They now lost 3 road games on the spin, and they conceded 3 in all of those games as well. And only 3 sides have got worse away record than them. And so a large part of that work was done with Xhaka in the side. So I don't think he will make a massive difference to what they do. But I've gone with the goals for Bournemouth, over 1.5 Bournemouth goals, because it was the same price as them on the money line. It was minus 136. So that's the route I took. They do look very good going forward still, scoring plenty of goals. Their last 5 home outings have seen both teams score and an average of 3.8 goals, and I think they'll heavily contribute towards that again. So that's my lean on this. Over 1.5 Bournemouth goals at minus 136.
I was just thinking there, if it's a 12:30 Eastern, 7:30 Eastern, so 12:30 UK on Saturday. If you're coming down from Sunderland on the coach, I mean, that is an incredible early start. That's like getting up at about, 3-4 a.m. at a weekend. Who would want to do that? Getting up at that sort of time.
I knew where he was going with that. I knew where he was going with that. I knew exactly. I'd rather be coming in at that time than getting up at that time. That's the difference.
Nigel, when are you back in Blighty? When are we going to see you in England?
Monday. But you can follow us with lots of good content on the socials. I've enjoyed doing stuff on the Instagram account at Because We Win. Do you know, I've had a nightmare of a couple of bets out here on the tennis. Oh, mate, some really, 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 really bad beats. And I bet Sean Calvert's picked a player plus 10.50 to win the tournament, Rublev. And I messaged the guy to put the bet on for me. I wanted like 100 quid on him at 10.50, and I messaged Bublik. I messaged. He said I messaged Bublik rather than Rublev, and the guy that Sean Calvert's bet is the 2-1 favourite. My guy's out. I put the wrong. Some reason I don't know why I put the wrong players. It's been a nightmare. It's been an absolute nightmare. And the missus is out down the Dubai Mall. Oh, it's
an expensive week out there.
It's mad. I need a good Premier League weekend.
Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck, one and all. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Premier League Show Matchday 28. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section on YouTube. We have got a midweek slate, of course, for you next week. So we'll be back to preview all of the action for you. From all of us for today, though, it is goodbye.